soon. And thank you all for being with us this evening. And of course, special thanks to Canon. This evening is a collaboration with Canon worldwide. So thank you very much. I would like to say a few words about Photo Israel and the International Photography Festival. So this evening today is part of the online event program at Photo Israel International Photography Festival. Photo Israel is a non-profit organization established in Israel in 2012 to realize our social vision of creating better society through the language of photography and of social activity, creating a dialogue between art and different communities in Israel. We believe that photography is a universal language that reaches across all cultures and genders to be understood by all, a language that allows for building bridges between central and remote areas and between unprivileged communities and the general public. This session is going to be an artist talk with the talented and renowned, very famous Paolo Verzone. I would like to say a few words. At the end of his presentation and talk, we will have the opportunity to ask questions. So please do write your questions in the Q&A, and I will introduce them to Paolo at the end of his talk. So Paolo Verzone, born in 1967 in Turin and based between Italy and Spain, Paolo Verzone has been a member of Agents VU since 2003. Over time, his interest of the world is drawn more and more towards its people. He develops demanding sets of photographs made with a medium format view camera that imposes a focus on the subject presented full length. Paolo Verzone was awarded at World Press Photo in 2000, 2009, and 2015. His photographs are part of different collections at the Victoria Albert Museum, the Bibliothèque Nationale de Français, and more. He joined as Canon Ambassador program in 2017, and we have the honor and privilege to host him tonight in an artist talk about behind the scenes of the work of a National Geographic photographer. So Paolo, the stage is yours. And again, many thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Michelle, so much for your kind words. Thank you very much, Photo Israel, for this invitation. Thank Canon for making this possible. As usual, they are fantastic because they can create bridges always. It's surprising how they are creative in that. It's for me a true privilege to have this chance to talk with you and get in touch with you, because I know very well your festival since a long time, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Tell me if you want to start. Do you want to start?
Yes, please. You just start, and the questions will follow. So feel free to do your thing.
So I give you a brief introduction of myself. I will start sharing the screen. Okay. So I just prepared a PDF with a little history backwards. It's we are doing a kind of mini time travel in my work. I can say I work basically now as a portraitist and photographer who has always the persons who are working and living and experiencing their own environment. So this is my kind of the thing I love the most to do. So to dig deep inside a community, to deep inside an entire world, passing through the human experience. For me, the human experience is it's always the key, the human presence, the human who can, with their energy, they can really make changes for good. So what are you looking at? You are looking at a time travel machine. This is pure time travel. This is me with one of my best friends. We are still best friends now. It's Alessandro Albert. we are in Moscow. This is 1991, the week after the putsch of Gorbachev. We decided to tell the story of an entire society, which was Soviet Union. It wasn't Russia. There was the red flag on the Kremlin. So we decided to go there with a 4 or 5 inch camera and plates, and starting taking the pictures of the people in the street of Moscow the week after a coup. So the entire Russian Soviet society was in turmoil. It was an extreme energetic moment for all the society. So we were just walking around the street of Moscow with a lot of equipment, and we were just asking the people to stay where they were, to stop them where they were, and to interact with them, and having portraits. We were absolutely charmed by the work of August Sander or Richard Avedon, so we were on this path. But this was an extreme beautiful lesson on how to deal with the others. This way of working close, this way of, for example, the fact that you use the tripod and look at this kind of big machine who look like 1900 cameras and cameras from the past, created in the subject a kind of sense of calm. And it was all the work we had to do on taking the pictures of them, really focusing on their presence in front of the camera. Consider that this picture has been done with plates. Plates means like the old style camera. Before they were done with glass. Now they are in plastic. So you don't have much film to shoot for each subject, because it was very expensive. So we were planning to do one picture for each person. So this is giving you a kind of focus in your mind where you have to completely control what is happening around, and just to select the right moment to do this picture with the right person, with no mistakes possible. This is a kind of experience which I would suggest to every young photographer, just to take a portrait of whoever they want with one single shoot. Only one. You have one chance. You click the camera one time. I still apply this mindset now in the bigger projects I do. It was an incredible school. We were there in 1991. These are some pictures of 1991. Then we went there in 2001, 2011. Now we will go back in 2021 to do the same pictures. So we have a complete idea of the Russian society today. Consider this is it could be a trap. This is not the Russian society. This is the Russian society seen through the eyes of 2 Italian photographers. Imagine, and this is a key. This is a key, because when we were there the first time, we were like landing on Mars. It was Soviet Union. I was 23, Alessandro was 25. It was a complete madness everywhere. The people were so curious about us that they stayed for hours just to pass time together. We didn't have a way to talk. We didn't speak Russian. They didn't speak English. We found sometimes someone who was writing some panels, and we were sharing ideas and things with these written panels. But it was an extremely intense connection we had with all of them. So this was, for me, a starting point on how I would like to interact with other human stories and how deep I want to get in this, focusing on the persons and on their environment. So this for me was really a super important starting point. Here, for example, you have the picture we did and the set of the picture. So as you see, they were really standing still. They were And this camera was reminding them, the cameras, they were still cameras like this in Russia at the time. So it was the cameras of traditional cameras, so they knew how to behave. They knew they had not to move. It was a very, very intense dialogue with them. It was a visual dialogue. Every time you get in a portrait, every time you get in this mind space, every portrait is a mind space. Is not, there is I think, a fake perception of the idea of a portrait, like the portrait you will reveal the soul of a person. It's completely wrong by my point of view. You just reveal 1/25 of a second of the life of this person by your point of view. But in this small interaction, a lot of things can happen. A lot of magic can happen. Like there is also some unpredictable movements, unpredictable things which make the picture magic at the end. You have to wait for this accident, and you include this accident in the picture. And this is when I started after. This is a work I did since 2009 until 2014. This is a work I did in the European military academies, and it was basically a work on European identity. Again, we are talking about identity. We are not talking about soldiers or future soldiers. These academies were places where officers were formed during the First World War, the Second World War, and there was so much shared stories that the place is always telling you a lot of things. When I get in an assignment or in a story, there is one extremely important thing I do is you get in touch with the environment with all your senses in. You have your radio on, you get in a room, you start to feel the place, you have to feel the lights, you have to feel them, all what is surrounding you, it speaks. Then, and only then, you start a dialogue with the person who is using this room, the person who is passing in this room. So it's like for the portraits I showed you before, the background is extremely important. In this case, the environment was telling also the story of the places. So I will show you some of them. These are from 20 academies in 16 countries. And also, again, here, the dialogue with the human figure is extremely important. I learned, but this is about direction. You have to direct the people. You have to let them feel you are keeping them in your hands. They trust you. You must feel them always, constantly, that you are there only for us, that the entire world is colliding to them. No sound, no movement, no nothing. They must feel the entire world is between you and them in that moment. You will get them their attention. The thing that Machiavelli was describing in some of his texts, the presence. The presence is something extremely important. You can have a portrait of someone in the same position and you can feel the person is not there. This dialogue, this directing is to bring the presence. It's something, it's a kind of psychological deep talk you are having constantly with your subject. It's an underlayer talk. It's not a talk you can say with words, you can do gestures, you can move things, you can also do, the silence can be a tool for that. So there are a lot of ways to enter in this mind space, which is the portrait. It's an extremely complex mind space, extremely sophisticated, and it has so many layers that every time I'm surprised by that. When you start dialogue with 3 persons, you have a lot, example here, of elements changing, a lot of variables. And after you set what you think is the background, you start the real dialogue with them. You let them move their bodies, you stretch their bodies in position which could look contradictory. So it's an entire work of directing you have to do it. In that pictures, you are a director. You have to direct them. You have to take them by their hands and bring together something at the end. It's a kind of orchestra work. It's not something so simple as shooting a picture. It's a complete orchestra work. And this orchestra work is done with pause, because the music, it's not only high points. There is pause, there is silence. You can use silence to communicate something. I'm checking with time, I don't have to, to stretch this too much, so I will go on. So you consider all the elements of a picture at the same time. You have your inner radio always on. You are thinking 5-10 times more speed than in any other situation. You are completely focused on what is happening. And you are ready also to catch something which is surprising in a certain moment. For example, this is a kind of ballet. You can't predict them. You can't build the circumstances that will make this happen. So you just ask them to continue to turn, and you will shoot a picture while you see all the persons in a kind of harmony or disharmony. I love disharmony. I want always disharmony in all my picture. I have a small element which is colliding, which is a fracture. I love this. I love we could describe it like, oh, it's a mistake. I love mistakes. I love imperfection getting inside my picture. I truly love it. I aim for it. I prepare a frame and I wait for something surprising come in it. For example, sometimes I stretch the positions in a way that you almost lost the face, but it tells you something. The position of the hand, I ask them to move the body in a kind of slow motion. And I see and I get in deep contact with all the environment and the person, waiting until this, for example, in this case, the face is completely disappeared. It's like you really walk on a cliff and you wait that this cliff it's at the edge, and sometimes you get out of the edge. If there is no light, I recreate light from zero in a kind of way that it can be, we can say, the eye would perceive it like something possible. You see a window, there is a light, everything, this is late evening. It was completely dark, totally dark. So you recreate something, you create a sensation. I like a lot to work with lights. So I try to direct the light in a way but they always add one layer more to the story. And now we are going to another project in which I'm working now. It's an entire book I'm doing together with a German publisher on Svalbard. Svalbard is an archipelago of island. It's one of the more northernmost habitated place in the planet. It's a place also which is extremely important for research in the Arctic. It's like 800, 900 kilometers from the North Pole. And so I'm exploring this entire environment to produce a book with that. I did many trips in the last 4 years, something like this. And for COVID, I have been, of course, blocked a little. Now I will get back. And I've started seeing that from the perspective of science, which is a research base with more than 16 countries working on research in the Arctic on all fields like glaciology, climatology, climate change, sea research on the sea, research on the atmosphere. So it's a complete place for research over there. So for me, again, the players here are the humans. The human presence is something which is extremely important, and how they interact with these super strange tools also, which they produce a kind of extremely mysterious perception of this. This is a part I did on a Norwegian icebreaker of the Coast Guard last year, and it was extremely interesting again to see the sea from another perspective. These are the Russian mining towns there, research station, the main city, Coast Guard. Part of landscape. Russian mining towns. Glaciologists at work. Glaciers. Chinese station. So as you see, I'm trying again to have the humans at the center of it. And so because of the academy project, I was for the first time in touch with National Geographic. I met them in Washington. I presented them my project, and I had a very good feeling with them about how to deal with a long-term project, with how to develop a story. And sometimes later, they called me for the Bible story, which I will not show you because I don't think it could be super interesting for you to see places that you know by the book, totally by the book. I mean, so I preferred to show you the last story I did with them, which is in the last month issue. And it's a story on reimaging dinosaurs. It was done in 2 parts. So what does it mean, reimaging dinosaurs? It's an extremely brilliant concept, like how we represent them, who is studying them, in which ways, which are the new path we are taking to represent how dinosaurs are, how they lived, and I will show you just the publication, the entire publication, and then we will try to dissect everything. I will get you inside the machine, showing you the making of, showing you the picture aside, so chapter by chapter. So this is the publication. This is a part I did in Morocco. It is in the US. It is in the UK. It's the Natural History Museum, the UK. Morocco, this is in Italy. Yale University. This is in Ohio. This is a research lab. Yale University. And here we start the opening the machine. Like this was I work by chapters. The first chapters was about a dinosaur who was they thought it was disappeared. There was no proof of its existence. It's not only extinct. There were doubts it even existed. A team with led by Nizar Ibrahim, who is an extreme talented paleontologist and professor, discovered an entire body of this dinosaur in the Moroccan desert. The last existing proof of this dinosaur was a skeleton who was bombed during Second World War in a museum in Berlin. We didn't have any proof after that of an entire sample of this specific dinosaur. So there were rumors like, okay, it was just an idea. We just have a picture of before the bombing. We don't have nothing. They continue to find pieces, but that doesn't mean nothing. They found one. So the location, it's kind of super secret. So there was immediately a kind of magic surrounding that. So you meet the editors and you start to develop how to do it. Chapters to see how the entire story would be developed means like we started with there is a group of Italians close to Venice that they are doing models for museums, and they were working on a model of this specific dinosaur, which is a Spinosaurus. And so this is again reimaging dinosaurs, how you get inside the concept of how today we see dinosaurs and how they are showed, how they are presented in the whole process. So I was there when we were preparing this model. And then we went to Morocco. Morocco, it was incredible because there was the excavation of this Spinosaurus. And I was there with Michael Greshko, the journalist. I was there with my assistant Massimo and an entire paleontologist team at work. They were doing scouting, excavations in collaboration with the Casablanca University, which they have extremely brilliant paleontologists. So it was a very well tight team with also students coming from a university in the US. So we were a group of a lot of people moving through Morocco and exploring also all the surroundings. What does it mean? They went to meet all the players of this story, and this was extremely interesting. These are collectors and diggers, people who dig these kind of items in the desert between Morocco and Algeria. And the paleontologists have a close dialogue with them because they know exactly what is found, what's going on. They have a permanent and extremely nice contact with them. So they went to meet them and they were showing us the pieces they found. So there is a permanent dialogue. And I loved to be in this situation where you have to invent lights from nowhere just to bring the attention to something. So it's like getting deep in the magic. We are getting in slowly. So you are taking yourself and your mind, you are starting to thinking of a kind of writing. You are writing a book, chapter by chapter, how you can connect all these chapters. I use the light and ambience to do it at the best. So this was the excavation site. It's a kind of Bible scene. It's a kind of mythological scene. It looked like really what you expect, like an archaeological excavation. This is a paleontological one. And I love that so much. So I love this kind of presence of sand. And so I wanted to enhance this. And again, the human presence was a key. And permanently, what has happened? With your editor, you share what is happening. You have a journalist close. So every day you are looking what is happening. You speak with the paleontologists. For example, you don't arrive to a site like this and you start shooting. I never do this. You get there, you try to understand who everybody is, what are they doing, what is exactly the tools they are using. I'm not in a hurry, even if there is not much time. You are not, you don't have to lose this understanding and deepening before shooting. Because if you start shooting randomly with pictures in the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you don't know even what is happening. So you just don't shoot. It's extremely challenging. You get there, you wait for 1, 2, 3 hours, you just don't shoot. You look, you speak, you listen. You try to understand the environment. You activate your inner radio, your radio who is transmitting what is happening. You try to understand. When you understood something, that's the moment where you start to shoot. It's a kind of holding thing. You hold emotions, you hold everything until you have an understanding. In the moment you have a beginning of an understanding, because an understanding is day by day. But if you have a path, you understood what are they doing, why they are doing this in this way, then you start to shoot, and it changes everything. This is the moment they discovered a bone, a foot bone, a very big foot bone. So I liked to take this moment again with the imperfection of it. They were preparing, I was asking them, let's do a group picture with the finding of the bone. They were starting to listen to me, and this kind of movement we were doing were much more interesting for me than a complete group picture of everybody looking at me. I love that. That is the second before they turned to me to prepare to the group picture. I love to see this movement. And it gives me the atmosphere of the finding, much more of a group picture of people looking at me. So you must be always, always aware and in full tension to give and understand deeply what is happening around you. This is the finding of a bone. And then you have to think in a way that everybody could understand the size of it. So you do more picture of the same, they start measuring it, and you know the picture when they measure it, it's very important because it gives the public the clear idea of the size of this bone, which is just a football. So you never have to forget this. And never have to forget to take the captions while you are shooting of everything. Otherwise, you lost track, because after you stay until 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the night to do this captioning. So you are not catching up the days before. And sometimes you get these mysterious moments, what we were doing. We were digging, and then we were throwing the part just downhill. But there was a kind of pattern, a mysterious pattern of repeating something. I love that, so you just do a picture. And this is like a little making of. This is my assistant Massimo, and we were just walking every day with them for hours in this landscape. And it's fantastic because it prepares you, you deepen in that. You are surrounded by that. And this was another thing to get you in the story. It's a key point. You have to dirt your hands with that. You are exhausted at the end of the day. And it's fantastic because you understand all of it. This is a very important part of the process. This is Michael, the journalist, while he was taking notes. It was plus 47. It was at midday because it's not like I'm from Torino. We don't have the desert in Torino, believe me. We have the mountains close. So I had an idea of the desert where you go very early in the morning because it's so hot. Then you stop until 5 o'clock in the afternoon and you start again. No, it's a paleontological mission. They have a series of days to work. They work just all day under the sun, and there is no shade. You stay all the day under the sun at plus 47. And we were adapting to that, and it was fantastic. You understand more. This was the actual location. So all the pictures you saw before were done in like this 30 square meters where all the people were. And that road, that landscape far, we had to do it every day walking, coming by foot to there, like 1 hour and a half, 2 hours walking just to get there, and then coming back. And there are this part of the process too, like they were digging and taking out the part of the digging. I love this mix things when you froze someone in a position where we're stepping to get some more dust. I just froze them, but he didn't froze the other. So you do a kind of contradiction, but it gives you a lot of idea of what is happening. This is where we were hiding under the rocks to have to eat, and you could eat only things in can like tuna or something like this because it's too hot. And every day we really enjoyed the concept of shade. Shade, I never considered the shade. I think you over there, you know what I'm talking about. But we were there from the morning to the afternoon. So there were hours in the day you couldn't stay under sun. You just hide wherever you You could, and you were eating also there, or providing shade as much as you could. And then there was the scouting part. Again, you think we thought like scouting, okay, we do a nice walk. No, it's not a nice walk. You just walk for hours in the desert with all the equipment, with liters of waters, because you have to bring your own water. The car were much far after that mountains on the back. And it was extremely interesting again, like you get this exhausting. This exhausting is part of the story, completely part of the story, because it makes you feel you are talking about something so far in time, in space, that you feel detached from everything. And it's fantastic. You get at a level of concentration in that, which is incredible. This is again part of the scouting. These are the daily problems, like the car stuck in the sand. And then after the scouting, you get at the top of this and you have these incredible views. And I really loved play also with light, with this, like creating this light interacting completely with all the paleontologists at work. It was for me a kind of playground. This is a Spinosaurus tooth that Michael, the journalist, found on the floor while we were walking, and then, of course, he gave it to the chief paleontologist of the Casablanca University, because everything we collected, it has been numbered and given back to them. So it's but it was incredible. I mean, we were walking on teeth of dinosaurs. It's something so strange. Everything was mysterious. For example, this young student, he's tasting a stone, because you can with his tongue. If you have a tooth of dinosaur and you taste it with your tongue, if it sticks to your tongue, it's a bone or a tooth of dinosaur. If it's a stone, it doesn't stick. It's a super simple system, but it was extremely mysterious to see people kneeing and licking stones. It's fantastic. It's part of a complete mystery surrounding you. This is the beauty of these stories. These are some of the pieces we were finding when you were walking. This is someone who prepared the items that when they are found, like they found stones, they found dinosaur bones. You have to hand them to someone who is specialized, and there in Morocco they have someone extremely specialized to treat them just after the finding, to then bring it to the university, just to kind of stabilize them. It's a cleaning, nicely cleaning, but also stabilize them to not get damaged. This is a tribute to Massimo, my assistant, that he was always smiling, even 47. We were climbing these rocks to get on the top of a plateau. And this is a nice picture took after one day by Andreas Jacob, a very good photographer who was with us at that moment. Just a souvenir. So now we go to the second part, which was the part we shoot in the US. We started passing by Nat Geo, so you make the point of where you are with the work with your editor. In this case, it was James Todd, who is an extremely brilliant editor, and he has a kind of magician skill. I've tried to challenge him sometimes he sent me an edit of his pictures and his best ones. And I say, okay, I will try to find a better picture maybe for this, and I can propose you. The problem, I didn't find it. Never. It happened 3 times. I couldn't find a picture to beat his selection. This is an extremely important thing. That the people you are working with, they can do their job at a level which is considering many things. And if you think there is a nice picture because just is nice, it will never work. And if you see his selection and yours, I start smiling and I said, of course, I will never beat him on this. And it's fantastic because you feel you are in good hands. It's fantastic. So you start sharing what you have done before, you make the point, and then you start again. Here we are in a magical place. There is in the underground of National Geographic a kind of storage where Tom O'Brien, who is this gentleman on the left, is a fantastic person who can help you technically solving every kind of problem. So I was going to speak with him about lights, on how you use certain light to do the part in the US, especially in Yale, where I would have to take picture of eggs or items, small items. So we had a discussion on that. He suggested me things, he brought me things. It's a permanent discussion with many skilled people on many levels. So I left with some tools more from Washington after the meeting with the editor, and we started the US part. And in the US, the first contact I had was this. It's just pure surrealism. This is a frozen crocodile at the Ohio University, which is used to understand through scanning in a CT scanner and understand the relationship between these animals and the dinosaurs. It's done by Larry Whitmer, who is a kind of super genius on that. In his lab, he stores. He is a extreme specialist on all kinds of dinosaurs, and he has a scientific collection, for scientific purposes, of animals who are linked to dinosaurs. In science, this is again reimagined dinosaurs. We are discovering things through the new technologies that it was impossible in the past to make a connection from a dinosaur with an alligator, with a crocodile. Now it's possible. He's doing these links and providing us data. But how he's doing this? They take the frozen crocodile at -40. They charge it in a car. We were shocked by the incredible beauty and mystery of that. They charge it in the car. They start driving. They go in a hospital, a working hospital. They put the crocodile in a scanner. They do the scanner of the crocodile, frozen. So try to imagine the beauty and surrealism of all of that. A crocodile died like 30 years ago by natural causes. They do a scan today to get a connection with dinosaurs of millions of years ago. It's magic. This is magic. It's pure magic. So your work is to make this magic visible. And then now here we are at Yale University. This is Jasmina Biman. She's a researcher with an extremely high specialization on eggs. And for example, I learned the eggs of dinosaurs could have been colored. We have all this idea of the eggs, like they found some pigment of eggs of dinosaurs. Through that, with new instruments, they can again understand things which, connected perfectly with the reimagining dinosaurs, can connect us to the what it has been and how today we can improve understanding it. This is an egg which has like more than 50 million years. It was time travel, pure art piece. Time travel and art piece. I was shocked by the beauty of this. And this is just to show the process. Like, okay, you have one item so precious, so beautiful, so mysterious. How much you shoot to do that? You try different lightnings. So now you are getting inside the process. You try different lightnings, you do different variations, but you already know more or less, and this come from the 4-5-inch camera I was using 13 years ago in Moscow. You don't have to shoot too much. You know more or less where you want to go. Well, this is all the shooting I did to get this. Then there are, of course, situations where you shoot much more because the variables are different. But it was just to show you, and these are the raw, how you do it. So you don't expose in a crazy way. You try just to do a good picture immediately, because it's more easy. These are other details of Yale. This is another researcher of Yale who is connecting the birds, in this case, with new technologies to the dinosaurs. And he's having brilliant results from that. This is a chicken embryo, but seen in a way it's coming from space. And again, from this embryo, we can relate this to dinosaurs. These are the birds who is, Anjan, which is this researcher and professor. He's studying, connecting this again with the dinosaurs. And here now we are in London. And this was another chapter which was fantastic, because reimagining dinosaurs started also from the first representation of dinosaurs, like this one, which were done for the Crystal Palace exhibition at the end of 19th century. And it was incredible because there were statues of dinosaurs done for the first time, like Jurassic Park, and for entertain the public. It was the first time and the first attempt to represent dinosaurs for entertaining the public. They are all there, still in that park. They have been preserved, and it's fantastic because they are imperfect. They are not precisely corresponding to what this dinosaur was. They are precise to the knowledge of that time. It's extremely interesting, and they are beautiful in their strangeness. They are extremely beautiful. So this is Massimo preparing to get in the mud, because they are in a small park surrounded by some pond. And this is the Natural History Museum in London, where there is this researcher, Susie Maidment, that she's working in this underground lab, and she's developing research which are so important and so interesting. Also in this, look at the place, Again, it's pure time travel. This is time travel. And I enjoyed so much interacting with all these layers layers of time, layers of emotions, layers of super high skilled paleontologists, professors, and researchers where you learn from a lot. So you listen to them, and only after you start shooting, because you have to have a full understanding of what all these things are. And this is the Natural History Museum with one of the most well-preserved ancient dinosaurs which we can have on the planet. And that's it. And that's the last picture. We take a kind of souvenir picture with our friend, the crocodile. And that's it. So I ended my presentation. I took a little bit much more minutes. It was supposed. So would you like I stop share the screen?
Yes, please do, because we would like to have a Q&A with you.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much. It was very, very fascinating, and really I felt like you were taking us together with you to the journey. So thank you for your generosity. We have a few, first we had some comments while you were showing the presentation. People wrote amazing pictures and that you are a master of light, and many compliments. So I would like to first to say that. And we had questions sent ahead also. So I would like to start with those because people wrote it, I think, a few days ago, maybe a week ago, that they heard about this talk, and probably they're with us today. And they were asking a few questions. So the first is, how do you feel traveling in the world as a photographer? How is it like? And you just showed us this project where you're in Morocco and the US, different places, and England, so on. So people are asking, how does it feel like to take pictures all over the world?
It feels like it's an extreme privilege, but it's how is your mind open to see what you have around. It's not like traveling. Of course, traveling is beautiful, but if your mind is not connected, if your mind is not open, if you are not curious, there is no worth traveling. So I like to get in every place I go, not with a clear idea of the place, with nothing. I want to see it. I want to discover it. So this is my gift. It's not only the traveling, which is extremely beautiful. Of course, it's fantastic traveling. But are you prepared to travel? Are you enough curious to travel? I try to keep this curiosity always, to this astonishment always, because you can travel also getting down to your grocery. It's a state of mind, and you must have it in your grocery and in the travel, which is the most far and most beautiful.
Okay, thank you. So first, this was interesting for me to hear because some photographers, as you said, they go to the grocery or they even self-portrait. They take pictures of themselves or their lives, but you're really going out there. So the next question was, did you visit in Israel, and did you visit in Mitzpe Ramon, which is a down south desert city in Israel, and
No.
very much similar to what you showed us in Morocco. And there's
I didn't have this chance, and I'm looking forward.
Okay.
Truly looking forward.
We are also looking forward to having you in Israel.
Don't say too much.
Okay. And
don't say I will be your nightmare. Don't say too much.
And the next question is, which camera is your favorite, and which lens do you prefer using? What is your favorite one when you're taking pictures?
I would say simple things. My favorite lens is still the 50mm, which is the normal lens. I try then, if I have to have a larger view, I go for a wide angle, or if I really, really have to get closer and I can't go by my foot, I use a tele lens. I use very simple things. I have a chance, but Canon helps me in that, and I've been using this air camera for basically a lot of this assignment, and but I try to keep this thing very simple. It's what kind of eyes you use instead of the camera. How much are sensible your eyes? Then you can apply this to a lot of different cameras. It's not, I feel comfortable with Canon because I work with them so well since many years. It's a kind of natural match. But trust yourself, trust your vision. I use really rarely the telelens, only if it's really needed for some purpose. I use sometimes in this case the macro lens because it was needed for a specific kind of shooting. But it's a kind of, it's a thing about vision, not only technical stuff.
Okay, and while we're speaking, two more questions, I think are very interesting. One is, in most of your pictures, you portray people not looking straight to the camera. Most of the pictures, the people are looking aside or to a different direction. And the question is, why is that? Why do you choose to do that?
It has been a natural choice, a complete natural choice. There is one thing which is about me. I don't like pictures of me. I don't have pictures of me. I can't look inside the camera. So I always look away. Then I've experienced many times that the kind of intention and concentration and kind of look and presence the subject can have if he's not looking at the camera, it's completely different. It's another person. And this is a key for me. I want to see how many persons you are during a shooting. I really stretch this the maximum. When I direct you, maybe you are not seeing it, but I'm really working with you. I take you by hand and we move together, and I see how you perform, how your presence is. And I've felt a lot of time more presence when the subject is not looking.
Okay, and another question about the people that you take picture of. Someone here is asking, do you give the people that are in the photos, do you give them a copy of the photo itself?
Now it's super easy. Yes, always.
Okay, thank you. And one last question, which
Yes.
I see a few people are asking, it's in a different ways, but it's the same theme, which is, how do you, and if so, how do you prepare yourself before you're going to a mission? Do you do research?
Of course.
How do you do that?
A lot.
Okay.
You try to read everything you find. But the National Geographic in this, they are fantastic. They provide you material to get you completely that you can understand what you are doing. And I read more and I dig more. So I arrive there and I know more or less what we are talking about in the best possible way of what you can find on internet and which is always super good, how much they can help you in that. The National Geographic, they give you a full understanding of what you are doing. Where are you going? And you talk with them before moving a lot of time. So you arrive there that you know who is the Spinosaurus. You know why it disappeared. You know a lot of stories about that. So you are completely in this thing. You are totally in this thing, and you are You are not discovering that there. But it's the moment to activate your radio, to see everything you have read and what you have in front of your eyes is there a match? And where are you in that? Because you must find your way quickly in that. So understanding, opening the radio, opening all the senses, and then you move.
Okay, that would be the last one, and I'm saying to the audience also because they keep writing me questions. So this will be the final one for tonight. And the question is, how did you become a National Geographic photographer, which is a dream come true to many photographers? And what tips can you give to young photographers who wish to become a serious documentary photographers?
It's very simple. You do a very good job. One very good job in which you believe for years. I got my first meeting with them only after I did the story of the academies. 5 years of work, 16 academies, 20 academies, 16 countries. Do a profound job, but mostly do something in which you believe completely, who can speak about yourself. Do it so deeply, but it will resonate so much, but they can't ignore it. I'm not joking. This is about full passion. This is about full getting in what you love. It's the only thing it counts. If you do something with this amount of intensity, it will resonate. It will get there. And so I just show this work to them, and 5 years later they call me. 5 years. You don't have to be in a rush. There is no rush. But do, for the younger generation, do only one job. Only one. It's not necessary to do 500 stories. Focus on one story. You do this so well that it's shocking. And you will work the day after. It's a thing I really suggest you, to put all yourself in that. So this is the thing I'm totally suggesting to you.
Thank you very much. I think it was very inspiring, and I feel that you are very open and generous to us. So thank you
My
very
pleasure.
much. It's really an honor for us to have you.
And it's good that you stop me, because I would continue until 9 o'clock here.
Okay, so thank you very, very much. I would like to also thank everyone that were watching us, writing us, and it's great to have you. I'm inviting you, of course, to go on our website and see all our other online programs.
Of course.
We have 2 other talks with Canon photographers in the next few days. So thank you, Canon, as well, for this beautiful collaboration. And have a great evening, everyone. Thank you, Paolo. And
thank you so much. Thank you so much to you all. Thank you to all the person who has been patient until now, because I of course I knew that I stayed more. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you again for this invitation.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao. Goodbye. Ciao.